So I'll go ahead and call this December 6th meeting of the Utilities Service Board to order. And first item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from our previous meeting of November 22nd. So are there any amendments to the minutes or questions about the minutes from board members? All right, seeing none, then is there a motion to approve the minutes of the previous meeting?
So moved.
Second.
All right, and Latrina, can you please call the roll?
Kapler,
Yes?
Parmenter,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Burnham,
Yes.
Sherman,
Yes.
Roberts.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Minutes are approved. Next are the approval of the claims. First, we have the standard invoices in the amount of $1,256,034.70. Any questions or comments on standard invoices? All right, seeing none, then is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
And Latrina, can you please call the roll?
Parmenter,
Yes.
Roberts,
Yes.
Burnham,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Kapler,
Yes.
Sherman.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next is utility bills in the amount of $11,170.68. Any questions on utility bills? Seeing none, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
And Latrina?
Kapler,
Yes?
Sherman,
Yes.
Roberts,
Yes.
Burnham,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Parmenter.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Next item are wire transfers in the amount of $380,481.73. Any questions or comments on wire transfers? Seeing none, is there a motion to approve wire transfers?
So moved.
Second.
Latrina, can you please call the roll?
White,
Yes.
Sherman,
Yes.
Burnham,
Yes.
Roberts,
Yes.
Parmenter,
Yes.
Kapler.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Last item under claims is the customer refunds in the amount of $40,666.99. Are there any comments or questions about customer refunds? Yes, Amanda Burnham.
I saw Laura looking at me like, oh, I knew she would ask a question about this. Just looking at the very high, the refund for the leak adjustment for $18,800. What's the story there?
They had a really big leak. So the wastewater side significantly more expensive than the water side. I don't know, and I can find out really quickly. I don't know. Do you remember, Vic, off the top of your head, how many units it was that were adjusted?
It was a lot. I can't remember off the top of my head. It was hundreds.
Yeah.
Yeah, at least hundreds.
Okay. I just find that very, very interesting how expensive that one was.
Yeah.
Was it a fault of the customers?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
And the thing about these adjustments for sewer, when we do an adjustment for sewer, what we're doing is acknowledging that we didn't treat that water. So it's these adjustments are compensating for the fact that we were charged, the original bill charged for water that was not sent to the treatment plant and treated. So it really isn't costing us money with scare quotes. It doesn't cost us money to give a sewer refund when the water didn't go down the sewer.
Right.
Okay, that's what I want to hear. Thank you.
Yeah. And this one was specifically 3,298 units. So it was a significant amount of water.
Wow. Okay, thank you.
And Jim Sherman.
So am I to assume that the
that the customer did pay for the water part?
Yes, that's correct.
That was a lot of money.
Yes.
Yes, it was.
And Julie Roberts, did I see your hand up?
Yes. I heard Laura say the sewer is significantly more expensive than the water, but how much was the total for the water? Do you know thereabouts?
Let's see, the total bill was $26,351.02. And we
So-
adjusted 18,000.
Any other questions or comments from the board? Megan. pardon.
My question wasn't about that one. It was about a different line that was a refund credit balance after wastewater connection fee waiver, but the refund went back under the water funds. And maybe I'm just not reading that correctly. I just wondered that, Scoop.
Yeah, I think it might be a typo. I'll double check it.
Thank
I
you.
didn't even notice that. I'm sorry. We're usually really good about that.
You're great about that. So that's why I wondered. Thank you.
Mhm.
Hmm. Huh. All right. So Laura, you'll track that down and correct that?
Yeah, it looks like it was entered incorrectly and it should be under wastewater. So it's in our system correctly. It's just typoed on the sheet.
Okay, all right, as long as it's entered correctly.
Yeah.
Any other comments or questions? All right, then with that, is there a motion to approve refunds with that one correction?
So moved.
Second,
And Latrina, please call the roll.
Sherman,
Yes.
Burnham,
yes.
White,
Yes.
Roberts,
Yes.
Parmenter,
Yes.
Kapler.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next, we have the approval of the consent agenda, and so I will turn this over to Vic Kelson.
Good evening, Vic Kelson, Utilities Director for the record. I'm bringing tonight's approval, the consent agenda of $100,293.04 in total. The first item, item A, is to Schmidt Associates for $16,400. This is the fourth amendment to extend the life of the agreement for the Dillman roof replacement project. Item B is to Clean Harbors Environmental Services, $18,786.84. This is to empty and clean the sodium hydroxide tank at the Monroe plant. Item C is to Synthesis Incorporated. That's $3,200, a First Amendment to expand the life of the agreement for the AA spectrometer installation at Dillman. Item D is to BBC Pump and Equipment for $19,790. This is a control panel installation at the Reskin lift station. Item E is to Bledsoe Riggert Cooper James Incorporated, $1,700 for surveys of the Dillman wastewater treatment plant landfill. Item F is to 120 Water Incorporated for $22,992. This is the second amendment to extend the COVID wastewater monitoring at Dillman and Blucher Pool for another 6 months. Item G is to Heflin Industries, $10,769 to replace vacuum breakers and other equipment at Monroe. Item H is to Davy Resource Group Incorporated for $900. This is for the Idnr floodway assessment and additional work at the Winston-Thomas site. And then finally, item I to Parkson Corporation, $5,755.20 to replace some chain links on the bar screen at Dillman. Would any of the board members like to consider any of these items separately from the others? Hearing none, if there's no opposition, the consent agenda will be approved as requested by staff. Hearing no opposition, consent agenda is approved. Thank you.
Thank you, Vic. All right, next item is the request for approval of an agreement with Eagle Ridge Civil Engineering Services LLC for downtown culvert modeling services. And Jane Fleeg will tell us about this. Jane?
Yeah, Jane Fleeg, Utilities Engineer for the record. This is a contract with Eagle Ridge Civil Engineering Services LLC to model the downtown culvert system. We're calling it the major tributary to Clear Creek. It was formerly called the Jordan River Culvert. We want to take a look at that entire system to see what issues we may be having with that and help with the flooding issues in the downtown area if possible, but we can't do anything until we know, have a model of the system. So this contract is $39,750 for that contract, and I'm hoping that you're willing to approve that for us.
All right. Are there any questions from the board members? All right, seeing none, then is there a motion to approve this agreement?
1 second.
Oh, I'm
Jane,
sorry.
I apologize. Hey, Jane, this is Scott over in Planning Transportation. Excited about that project. I just have a question. The scope of that, is it the whole culvert or is it just in the downtown area?
It is the culvert, it's the enclosed portion from First Street all the way up to 6th Street and then Dunn Meadow area. Oh.
Okay, thank you. Oh no, Jane's lights went out. Thanks for the clarification.
Okay, any
Thanks,
other
Jane.
questions? Sure, Scott. Either, all right. Then is there a motion to approve this agreement with Eagle Ridge Civil Engineering Services?
So moved.
Second,
And Latrina?
White,
Yes.
Parmenter,
Yes.
Kepler,
Yes.
Burnham,
yes.
Sherman,
Yes.
Roberts.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. That motion is approved. Next item is a request for approval of an agreement with Eagle Ridge Civil Engineering Services LLC for drainage improvements from Dunn, Kirkwood to Indiana and 6th Street. And Jane, I'll turn this over again.
Yep. What we approved before, the model is going to help us with the design. That's part of why we have the same consulting engineer. This is it's the last piece of what was called the Jordan River Culvert. It's the piece that starts at Dunn, just north of Kirkwood, and goes over to Indiana between Kirkwood and 6th. That's the last piece that will require upgrading. We asked the consulting engineer for a price to design that section. It also includes relocation of water mains, sewer mains, connecting storm sewers, et cetera. A lot of coordination with IU. So this one is for an amount of $355,480 and would like to have your approval on that.
Okay. Any questions for Jane on this? Yes, Jim Sherman.
Jane, was this put out for bid?
It was not. Professional services do not have to be put out to bid. Eagle Ridge was the one that has done the majority of those beginning projects for utilities of the Jordan River Culvert reconstruction. They actually had a preliminary design of a piece right under Indiana Avenue. So they are very familiar with the situation and very familiar with the type of projects. So I'm anxious to have them back on board.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? All right, seeing none, then is there a motion to approve this agreement with Eagle Ridge Civil Engineering Services for the drainage improvements?
Kirk
Hey,
has a question, Gene.
Right, I'm
Jane,
sorry, I
I-
missed you,
Oh,
Amanda.
that's all right.
Oh, sure.
I just have a question for Jane. Jane, looks like this would probably go across People's Park and the parking lot. Is that right?
It is in the alley. The culvert right now is in the alley between your parking lot and the Von Lee area. So the new culvert alignment would be in the same location, except it'll have to be widened. It does not go through People's Park. It's on the north side of People's Park.
Okay, so it's all in the alley then, more or less.
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, so is there a motion to approve the agreement with Eagle Ridge Civil Engineering Services for drainage improvements?
So moved.
Second.
And Latrina, please call the roll.
Roberts,
Yes.
Sherman,
Yes.
Burnham,
Yes.
Parmenter,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Kepler.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Next item is a request for approval of a second amendment to the agreement with Rumpke of Indiana LLC for disposal of contaminated soil from the Hidden River Stormwater Project. And James Hall, I'll turn this over to you.
Hi, James Hall, CBU Environmental. Again, this is just our whole project down there on Lincoln. We had a separate contract for the disposal of the contaminated soil down there with Rumpke. And again, as you know, with the vet contract and others, it's over anticipated the volume was. And so we're having to extend the Rumpke contract as well for an additional $30,000 for not to exceed of 139 and some change there. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Are there any questions from the board? Oh, yes, Kirkwood.
So, James, is this different soil is it a different contamination from the dry cleaners?
It's the same soil. It's just our contract with the disposal facility, the landfill. So we had our separate contract with the landfill to dispose of it. We didn't dispose of it through vet or whoever.
So what we did a couple of weeks ago was to move it, and now we're storing it.
Correct. Yeah, vet is monitoring, sampling it, doing all the analysis of it and trucking it for us. And then, yes, this is just for the permanent storage of it at a landfill.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Amanda.
I just have a question, and I'm sure we've covered this before, but I understand the project. I understand what has happened. Do we need to follow these guidelines and these rules on the soil because of local jurisdiction or local mandates, or is it something that is mandated by the state?
Correct. It's a state mandate. Also, the way that we dispose of it, EPA has put in guidance out, and Idnr follows that guidance on this what's called a contained in process.
So we're not getting any. We have no obligation to something that the city's asking us to do. This is something that we are required to do by the state and the EPA.
Correct.
Okay, I just wanted some clarification. Thanks, James.
Yeah.
Any other questions for James? Okay, seeing none, then is there a motion to approve the second amendment to the agreement with Rumpke of Indiana?
So moved.
Second.
All right, and Latrina, please call the roll.
White,
Yes.
Roberts,
Yes.
Sherman,
Yes.
Kepler,
Yes.
Burnham,
Grudgingly, yes.
Parmenter.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right, thank you. Thanks, James. All right, next item is a request for approval of an agreement with Arcadis US Incorporated for development of a cybersecurity plan and processes. And Liberty Flora will talk to us about this.
Hi there, I'm Liberty. I'm an environmental program coordinator in the engineering division. I would like the board to consider a professional services agreement with Arcadis in the amount of $32,000. The scope of work includes a gap analysis of previous work conducted by CBU and ITS, the incorporation of Indiana Finance Authority, cyber requirements. They're going to include a template for the cyber plan and then expertise to develop that plan.
Okay.
I'd be happy to answer any questions. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, Kirkwood.
So Liberty, could you just expand a little on this, the scope of this? What will it help us? To what level will it help our cybersecurity for our different IT systems? I'm kind of assuming, but if you could help explain it a bit, that'd be great.
Well, sure. I guess it first starts with properly tracking our cyber assets. That would be the first start. And then from there, we're able to have some processes to allow us to respond to cyber threats, and basically lay the framework for our staff to become familiar with those processes. So I guess the short answer is yes. Thanks, Vic.
And there's several dimensions of this. One is just wanting to have our hands wrapped around everything to do with cybersecurity at CBU. That's both us and ITS. There's also a federal mandate that's inspiring some of the timing on this. The America Water Infrastructure Act of 2018 requires that in coming years, if we're going to be requesting any kinds of state revolving fund financing for any water or wastewater projects, we're going to have a published cybersecurity plan that meets a lot of requirements. So this is to help us get to the finish line on implementing all of that and help us and it coordinates with ITS on this project.
Thank you.
And Amanda.
Thanks, Jean. So Liberty, good to see you again. Wanted to know, is in terms of cybersecurity, maybe giving us just a little bit more explanation on what this encompasses. Is it the computers that are taking care of customer service things, or is this broader to include the products that are being used in the wastewater and water treatment? Could you just give me a little bit more information there?
Oh, you're muted.
The first, so it would be SCADA and the billing software would be the two major components of this. I'm a little interested in seeing their template to know how in depth we're going to go with this. I don't, Vic, did you have anything to add to that?
Basically, it covers everything we do that requires technology. That's networking, hardware, software, and scheduling updates, having an emergency response plan for the eventuality that we might have an exploit or an invasion of any of our facilities. And it will call out what kinds of testing we're going to be doing on an ongoing basis to make sure that security is maintained. So but it basically covers everything we do. A lot of the office things are basically in the city's plan, but we still have things like customer service and control that there may be some special cases about some of those.
Thank you. Thank you both.
Okay, and Kirk.
Well, thanks, Vic and Liberty. You know, to me, you know, from my military background, I'll tell you, from my perspective, it's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when. Either we're going to get hit either in the customer service area with payments, that kind of database, or worse, we're going to we'll get invaded by the control systems that actually run our plants and lift stations and things like that. So we can't really do enough here, right? I don't think at this stage in the game to make sure that we're in a secure situation. So I'm looking forward to how this turns out.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments from the board? Okay, seeing none, then is there a motion to approve the agreement with Arcadis for the cybersecurity plan?
So moved.
Second.
And Latrina, please call the roll.
Parmenter,
Yes.
Roberts,
Yes.
Burnham,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Sherman,
yes,
Kapler.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, thank you all. And thanks, Liberty. Next is a request for an approval of an agreement with SSW Enterprises, Inc. for cleaning services for all CBU facilities. And I will turn this over to Cindy Shaw, please.
Hi, Cindy Shaw, Purchasing Manager, Purchasing Department for the record. We are asking the board to approve an amendment for a one-year cleaning service with SSW Enterprises, also known as or doing business as, SSW Enterprises doing business as Office Pride, for 1 year in the amount of $82,031.04. This will be, I believe, the second or third amendment, I can't remember, but it will be the last amendment before we go out for open bid again. So I'll take any questions if there are any.
Any questions from the board? Okay. Oh, yes, Julie.
Just Cindy, have you guys been happy with the cleaning services?
Very much so. Very much
That's
so.
That's good. That's hard to find.
It is.
And Amanda, you had your hand up?
Sorry, my mouse went haywire. Cindy, I'm just a little confused. You said this was an amendment, but our agenda says it's the approval of an agreement. So is this is a new agreement?
I'll let Chris answer that.
Yeah, so yeah, it's not an amendment. This is actually a new agreement. It's a renewal of the old one with just a few additions or changes to the terminology. But it's not going to have any additional years attached to it, so that next year everything will go out to bid and we'll and do competitive bidding again next year.
Thank you very much.
Any other questions or comments? All right, seeing none, then is there a motion to approve this agreement with SSW Enterprises for cleaning services?
So moved.
Second.
And Latrina?
Roberts,
Yes.
Sherman,
yes,
Burnham,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Crementer,
Yes.
Pepler.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Now, before we move on in the agenda, just want to remind the public that if you would like to make any public comment, you can do that at the end of our meeting by entering your comment into the comment section of our Facebook live stream, or if you're on Zoom, into the chat, and Holly will read that out for you. All right, so is there any old business from the board? Any old business from staff?
None.
Any new business from the board? Yes, Julie.
Hi, guys. I just want to let everybody know that this is my second to last meeting on the Utility Service Board. I am stepping down at the end of the year after 15 years on this board, and I have very mixed emotions. Hope to be able to make some remarks at the next meeting, but just wanted to let everybody know. I am moving into some other things that could possibly come in conflict with this in the future. And I'm just going to devote my energies to some other things. Hopefully I can still watch on Facebook Live. That's all.
Well, and thank you, Julie, for all of your years of great service on this board. And Vic, did I see your hand up?
No.
Okay, all right. And is there any new business from staff?
No.
Okay, all right, thank you. And I don't think we have any subcommittee reports, do we, Latrina?
No subcommittees.
Okay, so we'll move on to staff reports, and I'll turn this to Vic.
Obviously, Julie, I want to thank you for your service, but I'll have a lot more to say about that next meeting.
Well, and Kirk mentioned cake, but I don't know how we could do that.
We'll figure something out.
Okay.
Just a couple of things of some new folks who joined us. We have two new hires, David Pittman and Joshua Wathan, who are both laborers in T&D. And then two transfers. These are both laborers who've become line people at T&D, and this is Alan Christie and Chris Egan. So welcome and congratulations to these changes. These are we've seen a lot of change in T&D this year, and they're doing a fine job over there. The other thing I wanted to talk about was that a number of board members have asked at the last couple of meetings about the cost of the environmental cleanup at Third and Lincoln, and I've asked Chris Wheeler to update you all on what he knows at this time. Chris?
Hi, Chris Wheeler with City Legal. So last week I did have a communication by phone with the attorney who represents the old Leonard's dry cleaning service, and works with their insurance company that had their insurance policies back when they were in business, for the very purpose of looking into these types of cleanups. At least on their property, they've been doing that. It's not their property anymore. There's a new owner. But that old insurance company has covered the cost of some of the cleanup on the property itself. So I've reached out to that attorney and have discussed with her the fact that we are going to be asking for reimbursement at some point. I'm collecting data with James Hall and documentation to share with her to review as we continue to have that discussion with her to see how our claim will go with that insurance company. And I'm happy to try and answer questions if I can.
Any questions from the board? No, I'm just happy to hear the progress on this. So thanks so much, Chris, for your work on it. Oh, Jim?
So Chris, the concept is that if you're insured with a company for a period of time and then your insurance ends with that company, and then sometime later, maybe years, if something happened at the period that they were covered, that insurance company is still responsible. Just seems like an odd legal issue. Chris?
I'm sorry, but you've been breaking up on me, and I don't know that I fully appreciated your question. But the insurance company, dependent upon the time and how long they had the insurance policy, there would be several different companies perhaps, or just one. We don't know yet. That's part of what we're discussing with the Indianapolis. I don't know a lot of detail, and I'm going to be speculating further on that.
Okay, we'll get back to it another time.
Any other questions?
Yes,
Chris?
and the last thing is that at this point, we're assuming we may be going back to live meetings in January. My guess is there's probably a fairly high probability of that happening unless the pandemic takes a real turn for the worse. It's my understanding that we should have the modifications to the boardroom in place in time for a meeting on January 4th, should that one have to be held as a hybrid meeting. So the equipment is supposed to be shipping here in the next few days. And we're told that it won't take very long for ITS to get it installed. So I think that will be a big improvement, but I just wanted to let you know, we are taking action on that and it's moving along. I saw a
Vic,
question.
does that mean you're buying another owl?
No, we're doing something more sophisticated than that for the boardroom. It's just too big. The plan is to have cameras mounted in the room, and then there'll actually be directional microphones installed in the ceiling tiles above where the board members sit. So they'll be able to, it's a pretty cool system to do all of that, but it should take care of a lot of the issues we've had with feedback and so forth. But we're told that the camera quality will be very good, and we'll be able to, cats will be able to take off of our feed and so forth as well. So we'll all be in this together.
So they won't have to lug all their equipment to the boardroom anymore.
They'll have to lug some, but probably not as much. Cameras and microphones will be in place. That's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So with that, I'll ask Holly, are there any public comment in the chat or the live stream? Holly?
There's just one comment in the chat, 15 years deserves a cake. And I second that motion.
I second that.
Hey, even if we have to do that after the first of the year, that might be a good way to christen the new boardroom, right?
I'd come back for that. Yeah.
All right. Well, then, if there's no other public comment, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right, we are adjourned. Thank you all. Have a good evening.
Good night.